Welcome, friends. The time has come. Sunk Loto has returned to the live music scene, and it's been a whirlwind of news, and lots of people are excited about it. Sold out shows already, multiple, in fact. And I've got Jason and Luke on the line. Guys, welcome to
Thank
Killy
you, brother.
Stereo and the faction.
Thanks,
How's it?
Thanks.
How's it been getting back into the rehearsal room together?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful, man. Yeah. Thank you so much for having us, Tim. Yeah, it's been astounding. We've just been crushing so hard. And yeah, it's so bizarre because you'd think after 15 years would be terrible, but
we should suck, really, shouldn't we?
yeah, but honestly, man, it's quite strange that it's going so well.
That's really good to hear. And I mean, it's not like you guys completely disappeared from music entirely. Like, you got this, on Jason's side of things, you've done Electric Horse and all sorts of things since. And then Luke, like, even though it wasn't necessarily on the live front, although here and there you did some live stuff, you had jails and churches going.
Yep.
And your own sort of stuff going on. So it's not like you guys have, put music down entirely. And how has that sort of helped you guys, return to the frame? Like how did the conversation of sitting down at the table together even come about?
Yeah, man. Those projects definitely, have helped us grow as musicians to sort of explore other stuff and also probably make us realize how much we missed this band as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just it's definitely helped us grow as musicians, and yeah, man. Like, has it helped you, Luke?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's kind of like, for me, I kind of go through phases where I won't play at all, and then I'll kind of get the itch and pick up the guitar or piano or whatever and start playing again.
Yeah, man. I swear I've quit music like 3 times over the past 15 years and said, that's it. I'm never doing it again. I'm done with this shit. I've packed all my stuff up. Luckily, I never sold it though.
That was my next question was, did it ever get to the point of going, you know what, fuck this? And not only that, I can probably sell this stuff for a decent amount because I could put on there that, this was used in the recording of, Sunk Loto album, or,
hey,
Electric
don't give me
Horse
any
record
ideas, man. I'm broke. I need money.
No, man. I've cracked the shit with music, but never to that point.
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
Never sold any of my, like, I've still got my Les Paul from, when we first started, like, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe longer.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And I've actually, I was speaking to Chris today, the guitarist in a Sucker Punch at the music store, and one of the gentlemen
Crispy.
there, are you there?
Yeah, Chris.
You know Chrissy? Yeah. And he said there's a gentleman there, Alex, that used to work at Tim's Guitars, but he fixes guitar pedals. So I'm going to take some of the original Boss guitar pedals that I used literally in Sunk Loto like 15 years ago to Alex, and he's potentially going to fix them so I can use some of them for this tour.
Oh, I love that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
You're actually getting vintage tones.
Come on.
Yeah. The legit tones that was used to record the record. I love that.
That's right.
Or at least live.
Come on.
Like getting back to those early days of Sunk Loto, like I never knew what the LOTO actually meant for a long time. And when I moved to Brisbane, one of the first people that I got to know down here, sort of early, probably like 2009 or so, was a guy called Greg Dodge, who was one of you.
Dodgy.
Yes.
Who was one of your early managers, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sort of just helped us, get started as absolute kids, man. We were grommets.
Yeah. And it was when you guys were called Messiah, right?
That's right, yeah.
Correct.
He was hooking us up with like Ibanez guitars and a few other things, yeah.
Because he was the guy at Billy Hyde's, right?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
Was it?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Wonderful guy.
and he
Very, very
talked
nice
about
guy.
that, about like he sort of helped you guys walk through the rebranding from Messiah to Sunk Loto, right?
Is that how it happened, Jace?
Or he at least explained it to me. That's how it went down. It's like Lord of the
Liberators of the
Liberators
Oppressed.
of the Oppressed.
That's what it
Yes.
stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because that was one of the definitions of the word Messiah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm pretty sure that's how it came about. But yeah, Greg sort of, like he nursed us through those younger years, like a lot of other good people did, and sort of helped develop the bands like at such a young age. So
yeah, I think people don't realize now, because there's been a lot of daylight between now and then. He was one of the early people who started the organization Q Music as well, which is really instrumental in things like Big Sound and
Awesome.
and the Queensland Music Awards and stuff now. Like he's one of the like life members of that organization. So like
awesome.
you guys have you guys are part of that whole sort of early Queensland scene, around that same time, Butterfly Effect and Dead Letter and all those guys, they were all coming out the same. So you guys were sort of just prior to all of that as well. You guys led a lot of the way.
Great bands. Great bands.
Yeah. And what I see more than anything is like that there are lots and lots of musicians who still reference Sunk Loto's stuff as being inspirations to them now. And I think it's really, I really think is like musician-led fandom of you guys. And, musicians are often, the early adopters of new bands, and they really are the seeds out to like their friends, their music-loving friends and that sort of stuff. And I really feel like there's just such love for Sunk Loto that has like continued to just permeate throughout the music scene over the last 20 years.
It's like with the musician's band almost.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, man. And it's like, it surprises me still, like people that I like in bands that I never thought would be fans of the bands that we influenced and inspired that come up and tell me that. Like I even saw the other day, like on Kevin Parker from Tame Impala's Wikipedia, he like grew up playing our stuff in his garage with his mates in Perth. I was like, what the hell? That's so cool.
Nuts. It is very cool.
Yeah, that's off its guts. Like you wouldn't expect that, but cool. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so like, my introduction to you guys was seeing. I bought. This is back in the early 2000s. I bought a VHS from Sanity. I think it might have been like Rage Against the Machine, a concert VHS, and they were giving out like a free, like it must have been whatever Sony or whatever it was. Yeah. You'd get a free like sampler one. There was like Frenzel Rom, you guys,
sick,
and someone else. It was like
love Frenzel Rom
and Sunken Eyes. The live film clip of you guys playing Sunken Eyes was on there. And, that was my introduction to you guys, and it was just like, fuck, that is sick.
Yeah. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, and so like, that's a bit of a lost art these days, like the sampler disc or the sampler video.
Yeah. I remember Korn actually put us on one of their
there you go.
Yeah, man, that was I think it was called Jingle Balls. It was like this weird song they did. And it was us. Lift was on there, and I think that band Jerk were on there as well.
Oh yeah,
Jerk.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that song of theirs that I hate when people?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Was it when people like that treat you like that?
Yeah.
Oh, what is that song? What a banger of a song that was.
Yes.
Sure, man.
They're kind of like industrial 9 Inch Nails. Yeah. Singer kind of reminded me a bit of Gigi Allen or something,
I actually met the singer from Jerk. I was at years and years after they'd like finished up. I was at Fuse Festival in Adelaide. There was like big sound like here, but like they had a smaller version of it in Adelaide called Fuse Festival for a long time. And I'm sitting around, I'm chatting with people, and somehow the topic of Jerk came up. I'm like, oh, I remember that song. What an absolute banger. And I'm sitting next to the guy who sang it. No idea.
You were sitting next to the singer.
Yeah, but he moved on into other projects, and I never saw what he looked like. I didn't know the guy's name or anything, and he was like, "Yeah, man, that was my band." I was like, "Whoa, shit!" Sorry.
I love that name, Jerk. It is a very strong name. And
we're label buddies with them. They're on the same label as us.
Ripper. That'll explain why you're on the sampler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And just to expound on what we were talking about before, Tim, about bands that were influenced by us. The funny thing is now we'd probably be influenced by them. So it's kind of it's a circular thing. We all influence each other. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we're all just music fans, aren't we?
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's why I do what I do.
Come on.
I love chatting about it as well.
Sure, man. We're all just sort of taking inspiration from each other constantly and reusing it into our own sort of style, I guess. Really, it's all been done, right? It's all been done. We're just sort of revoicing it through our own brain.
That's right.
Unless you're coming up with entire new notes and whatever, it is with 60,000 songs being put on Spotify every day.
Wow,
there can't be there can't be too much new out there.
That's why you need like a 9-string guitar like Steph Carpenter.
Exactly, man, there's some wild stuff out there. I'm left wondering, like you guys in the rehearsal room now, obviously, like your eyes are firmly on the goal of getting through these live shows that are coming up and all that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's going to be a pleasurable experience. It's not just a case of getting through them, but I imagine your goal right now would be rehearsing that set to a fine point. But beyond that, I mean, has there even been talk of new music, or is it like let's keep eye on the prize for the moment?
Yeah, we I mean that's the plan, man. We want to do these shows. We might be actually playing a song from the Between Birth and Death era called Jaded. We're still kind of experimenting with the set list. Most of it is down, but we're still kind of experimenting. So we may be actually playing a new song, and we've already been kind of writing some stuff because there's quite a period of time between the Brisbane and Gold Coast shows. To the Sydney and Melbourne shows. So maybe we'll use that time to work on some new music. Very nice. No, that's great to hear. Yeah. And what's looking back from the both of you, what's the what are the moments for you? Like what are the big and let's say on the live front, what are the shows or tours or festivals or whatever that really stand out for you guys?
Man, the big day out stuff, all those like 90s, early 2000s festivals, like Home Bake and Livid and Big Day Out were just crazy, man. There's not much, they're not the same as they used to be. I don't think they were just so cool.
They were a whole other thing. Hey, like the first festival first Big Day Out I ever went to, which was my first festival. I got on. I didn't have a ticket that morning. I got on the bus at Roma Street, and I went to Parklands. I bought a ticket at the gate for $80, and I was there from gates open to gates closed. And I was 15. Like it.
Oh, amazing!
Man.
You couldn't rock up and buy a ticket on the gate now.
No.
It's wild.
No, I remember like seeing Rage Against the Machine at the Big Day Out when I was like probably 13, 14, going, maybe one day that could be me. And then like 3 years later, that was us.
Yes.
3-4 years later, I was like, oh, I actually got it. How cool.
But also like how early, like to be, doing the maths there, you were 17, 18 doing that. That's wild, man.
Very young.
To play a festival of that size at the age you were, that's off its guts.
I think that the age part, the age part that really spins me out, that Luke's touched on a few times, is the fact that we could write like a record like Between Birth and Death at the age of like 18, 19 years old. That was just still fucking insane record.
Yeah.
Like, you have to think it's almost like pure adrenaline, right? Like you know, at 18, 19, you're just pure creation. Your mind is just going, you know, like it's not, you're not probably not consciously going like, here's the record that I've got this end goal in my mind that's what it's going to be like. It's just pure creation at that moment. It's just stream of consciousness, right? Like you're not thinking consciously about what the record is.
I guess we kind of we did definitely have a goal set in mind that we wanted to make a smashing record. But you just never know what's going to come out and what's going to happen. I remember the first month we were working on that record, we were getting nowhere. We were getting absolutely nowhere. It was extremely discouraging because we would work from Sony were paying for our rehearsal space. So we had a space where we just left all our gear and we could just turn up there Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to usually about 6, unless we kind of threw in the towel a bit earlier. I know, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I remember we were trying all these different styles of writing, and the one that we got stuck on was improvising. We were getting nowhere. It was very discouraging. And I remember we went on a band excursion. We went and saw Phantomist play at the arena in Brisbane. And we came back and we wrote the song Help. And once we wrote that was kind of like, okay, we got this. We know that we can actually do this. And and from there, man, it was just, it was a very long, at times tedious process, but sometimes it's not always easy accomplishing your goals. It can be very hard and it can be discouraging at times, but it's the end result that really matters. And I think we achieved what we set out to do on that one.
Was it was it a case of like there was lots of ideas but nothing was sticking, and then you saw that and then it like kind of became this cohesive record after that? You're like, okay, Help is if that's the template, then we can go for that from there on out.
Yeah, man. Like I think we wrote like the really heavy gear on that record. Like once we had that template, we were just spewing out sort of like heavy shit like that, and then we sort of needed something that had some melody too. So there was that like, fucking what do we do here? And then sort of wrote that next sort of part of the record, like tracks like Everything Every Way and Starved were sort of written later in the piece, just to sort of balance the whole thing out a bit.
I think that's part of what you're saying there about it, like being quite young, writing a record like that, is like when you're a young thrasher, you certainly you aim to go as heavy as possible, right? Like, and that I think that's why you see like a lot of these bands that end up with careers of 4 or 5, anywhere plus records, and eventually it's less heavy, and it's unfortunate. People go, oh, it's not as heavy anymore. But it is a symptom of being a young thrasher. It's like you want to go as hard and as heavy as you possibly can, and then eventually, like, you know what, I want to explore some other dynamics. Hey, like,
man. I think we for a young band like at 18, 19, we sort of nailed that pretty well on that record too. That balance of extreme aggression and just the craziness of some of those songs, and then the balance of some good melody and some straight up sort of song structures.
That's what I really love actually about that sort of era and genre of music as well, is that the whole point of it is there's a lot of like balancing heavy parts with maybe really melodic vocals, or or taking it down a notch into a slower or more melodic
like a classic
example
like of that. The classical example of that for me is King for a Day by Faith No More.
Yes,
touched on everything, man. Like I think that was a definite template for us as well, is like let's show we can do anything, and they show that on that record. They just go everywhere from like super heavy to like jazz, fucking lounge music, and they pull it off beautifully.
Yeah, look, I mean, if you
executed
guys are
perfect,
you know, Faith No More, Phantomas, you know, fans like it's unsurprising that you're playing with Osaka Punch. Then, you know, those guys are very, very obvious, you know, fans of those same styles of music. So it's unsurprising entirely that you're playing with them, and obviously you know, pals with them as well. So it's all. I love the package that you guys have put together for the tour. It's excellent. The Last Martyr as well. Fantastic.
Now we just need some. Sorry, go on, Jess.
They're all great bands. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to be side of stage watching the whole thing.
Still a fan after all these years. Still a music fan. That's like.
And we'll have some stunning music between the bands as well. So the whole night will be excellent.
Yeah.
You know, a mix of everything. You know.
Totally. Boys, any last words before I sign off? I'm just so stoked to have you guys back on the scene, and you know, I was stoked to be able to be one of the first to chuck up the news that you guys, you know, jump on that news as soon as you guys started changing the profile pictures. I was like, "There's movement at the station. It's happening."
Yeah, sweet. Man, my message is just thank you so much to the fans that have waited 15 years patiently for us to come back. And we just cannot wait to get out there and just feel that vibe again, feel that raw energy and emotion, and share these songs with people.
Yeah, there's nothing quite like it, is there?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's amazing,
Thanks so much for your time, boys. Jason and Luke, see you out on the road.